Oh. I can do it right in there now. I added it. Our jam. I'm still going to edit in the intro, though, so it's going to double up, and I just ruined everything. You know what? Here's a little behind-the-scenes treat for listeners. I actually considered 2 songs for the intro, and here's the other one. Different vibe. I picked reggae because I know Ron doesn't care about reggae. So yeah, there we go. Those are the 2 intro songs we went.
I don't know. Did you flip a coin? How did you decide?
I just like the other one better. Just a bit more punch to kick things off. Though I like both of them. I gotta go over here so I can just double check levels. All right, we're good. Now, Ron, how are you?
Been better. We're half an hour late because of my technology struggles, which are really just a continuation from last week.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I think this is. I'm going to back up because I'm spiking, but your levels are good. I think this is episode 335. I'm your host, Jeff Glucker, and I'm joined by my boy, Ron. Hey. How are you, Ron? We already said that. Ron tried to record an episode last week.
I did record an episode. Make no mistake, I did record an episode.
What's the most important
didn't have
part
any
of a
audio
podcast?
attached. Just got
let me do something here. I'm going to show everybody
a pantomime video of me and our boy Anthony Day.
Yeah.
I can't believe there's no audio at all.
I'm going to see if it'll play in here. I'm trying to share it, but it's not sharing. Let me see if it'll come. It won't pop up. Window, QuickTime Player. Yeah, it won't let me share QuickTime. That's the problem. No, I was going to jokingly play it for you. It's just you two going like, there's no audio.
So irritated. That was an expensive fail, too. That cost me a $185 lunch. We had oysters and I don't know if we had lobster, shrimp, cocktails.
Jesus
I had to entice the boy to drive all the way up from Huntington to Long Beach. I know it's not that far, but I was just like, dude, let's do it in person. Let's do it at my place. I don't want to sweat in the Speakeasy. Like I've got, some sort of AC, but we ended up sweating anyway. But at least we ate well and we got to hang out for a bit.
Hang out. Yeah.
But I'm sorry that I wasted his time, our listeners' time, and have nothing to show for it.
You didn't waste anybody's time. You had a wonderful lunch with your friend. We just can't hear what you guys talked about. We'll just have to bring him back around and make him pay for lunch because he's a lawyer.
Totally.
Okay, so rolling into the show. So to those of you, I was out of town last week. I was on vacation, and Ron was going to record a show. I was very excited for it. Technical difficulties, shit happens. Here we are. Don't worry about it. We're going to start this one off by doing something we haven't done in a while, and that is dive into some Bring a Trailer great results and gross results.
Sure.
And I'm going to start with the gross results first. I think you got a chance to see. Let me just pull up this other window so I can bring these up for our fine viewers and listeners. Well, listeners, you're going to have to suffer through a little bit. So the first one, let me see. Oh, I can do Chrome tab. That's right. The first one is this. This is a mid-engined 1968 Chevrolet Camaro. Someone paid. Yeah, it's mid-engined, which is amazing. I will give credit to the idea of the engine.
What's up front? That huge long hood. What's up front now?
Right, because the profile is off, and I'm going to show that in a second. I just got to figure out which window tab I'm in. We're right here. So if I scroll down, the profile is mega goofy.
Yeah.
That looks
more reminiscent of a Charger, like a body dropped, like 68, 70 Charger. Like it's lengthened, it's stretched, it's slammed, looks like it's sectioned. I mean,
the wheels look like shit.
Yeah, it's just sorry to Centerline Customs. Is that who built this? Is that what
no, this says Vossens.
No. Centerline Vehicle Designs is who built it according to the listing. I admire
that
I don't know. I don't even know what I admire.
I think someone came to him with an
Sure.
idea, and they were like, "All right, we can do it," and they executed. They made a mid-engine Camaro,
It's a thing.
but
It definitely exists.
I want to scroll down too because at one point this did have. Let me go back to the window. This did have better wheels on it at one point, like more appropriate
The wheels are.
wheels.
There's nothing wrong with those Vossens. It's like one of the most
those
fast,
ones.
Oh boy, the center lines are they center lines? Are like
I think they
prize.
fit the car better.
Well, now that I see it on the old 15s or whatever it is, I definitely recognize this car. I mean, it has changed a bit over the years, but I remember seeing this, years ago. It says it was a 1990s build, so I won't. I don't feel too bad knocking it because I don't know. It's just not built to modern taste. Somebody tried to update it clearly, but I don't know. It definitely looks proportionally better on the 15-inch wheels as opposed to the 20s or whatever these are.
Right, and then the price.
That's
My like racist conspiracy theory. It went for $88,888.
What does that signify?
That feels like some white
is
power.
that the eighth letter of the alphabet? K?
88 is not good.
I don't know.
80,
I don't remember.
88 is
that like SS?
like Nazi shit. 88 is Nazi shit.
Oh shit.
I don't know if that's the case here, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. Let's move on to the next car. So the next car is a better car. Let me just preface.
God.
The next car is a better. The next car is a better car. I just think the price is
Wait,
stupid.
hold on. How is it a better car? I don't know if I agree if it's a better car.
I think it's a
I bet
better.
this Camaro is fun to drive. I wouldn't want to be seen in it, but I bet it fucking boogies and it handles and it does everything it's intended to do.
You're right. I got to rephrase this better. I think this is a smarter buy for the money, but at the point where I think we've hit the peak of the stupidity, and this is going to stand as a high watermark. So, like, if someone did this like a year ago, maybe it would have made more sense.
This is a much less polarizing and much less offensive vehicle for sure.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. So, for those listening, it's a 1990 Honda CRX SI 5-speed. It only has 12,000 miles. It says total miles unknown, but the car is flawlessly clean. But someone spent $40,000 on a CRX. Remember when this was? I know I'm dating. I'm sounding old, but like at just like 3 to 4, maybe 4 to 5 years ago, Integra Type R's were $40,000.
Bro, this car
like
2 years ago, you could have bought this car for $12,000.
Max. Even clean, people didn't give a shit about these for a while. I'm going to scroll. Let me pull the window back up so I can scroll. Like I will say, it's clean.
It's an SI. It's super clean. Like it's not fucked with. Like nobody's messed it up. It's nice. It's super nice for what it is. Super clean.
But 40 is just.
But does it even have air conditioning?
Let me see if that's in there.
If it's not fast, it at least better be comfortable.
I gotta go back. Right? Let's see. Time more about blah blah blah.
Original sticker, $11,390.
That's wild. Does it say AC on this front and rear? I can't. It's really hard to read the writing in that.
Yeah,
but you would
I don't
think
even know where to look for a compressor.
Right. That's what I was trying to think, and then I was going in here to see. I mean, it probably has AC, right?
Do you think?
It might not, though. It is 1990.
It does say air conditioning. But I don't feel like that was like standard. Like I feel like that was, you know, especially for a car with, you know.
Oh, well, maybe on the SI though.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, it's got crank windows, so I wasn't certain. I would have ventured to guess that it did not have AC, but it does. So
I think it's a better buy than that Camaro. But I agree with you that the Camaro would obviously be more fun. But like, you could go around a turn. I mean, I will not disparage the builders because they did something ridiculous.
Right.
At one point back in the 90s, someone spent a shitload of money.
And it looks, you know, relatively well executed, but it's just, you know, why?
Yeah, the wheels are hurting it a lot for me.
Did you ever see the Mach 40? which was like a 69 70 Mustang that was chop channeled and converted to rear engine with a GT, like the 0506 Ford GT drivetrain, so the supercharged 5.4 with the six-speed like transaxle, like it. Search for it and show it if you can.
Oh, it looks like a concept car, but like well done.
Right, much better executed. I'm sure it's like a
Yeah,
half
I'm
million
gonna
dollar
share
car,
it.
but it was extremely well done. The proportions worked. It almost looked like something Ford would have done themselves.
Yeah, that looks like a
Right.
concept
I don't love
car.
the wheels, but like, the
I don't
proportions,
hate them.
sure, but you know,
I think the center could be handled
right,
better. But I like where they're going
right.
with them.
But I mean, overall, it's just a much more, uh, it's a much prettier execution in the end.
It's definitely a higher
Totally,
quality of
totally.
build. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Wonder where that car is. All right, so let's go on to our last of the gross. We call them gross, but that doesn't mean the car. I'm trying to not shit on people. The
Right.
car isn't gross. Like that CRX isn't
No.
gross at all. It's beautiful, but not beautiful, but it's wonderful.
Yeah, I
But
wouldn't
the
go that far.
price is gross. I mean, it's cool. I'm down with
Holy
it. All right,
shit. I'm sorry, I'm
so
jumping ahead.
for which one?
Are you on the Blazer?
I'm about
Yeah.
to. Is this like before I click on this? Was this like someone in your company or you knew who sold this
I
car?
do know who sold this car. I've never met the guy, but he's a
Okay.
friend of a friend. I've seen him. He's got a collection. Like he's got a bunch of stuff. Like I saw Autotopia video on this truck, and he bought it, basically built, and then just like added some of his own personal touches to it. But
So he made
good
money.
for him, 100%. I would
So
imagine he probably doubled his money. This is outrageous.
it's insane. And when I saw the KMC wheels, I'm like, oh shit, right. This sounds like I feel like we talked about this
No, no,
truck
no, no.
or you knew someone. So the truck is sick as hell.
It is.
The truck is bananas. The price is what makes
Equally
it gross.
bananas. Yeah.
$179,000. So for those of you listening, it's a supercharged LS3 powered 1969 Chevrolet K5 Blazer that is fully done. Gorgeous light blue paint, KC lights up top, exposed exterior roll cage with no roof, upgraded axles, king shocks. Like you could actually take this and do stuff in the dirt. Lockers, onboard air, proper 17-inch wheels with big old 37-inch tires, KMC wheels,
Air conditioning.
air
I
conditioning.
don't know
there you
why
go.
when you've got no roof, but I mean, I suppose the liftoff roof would go back on there. I mean, it looks like the cage is
Yeah,
low
no,
profile.
let me see if there's a
There's any
photo of
pictures
that.
with
But
it?
yeah, it should go on. It looks like it bumps up a
Yeah,
little
it
bit, but
does.
that might have just been. It could lift inside of
Sure.
where the roof goes, though. Too. But the truck is super duper. What are those If they're not Corbos, they look, they're dope. Yeah, they're Corbos
Yeah.
actually. Yep. Big beefy 480E. It's an LS3 with an LSA supercharger, which it says fitted under current ownership. So
Right.
your homie
Right.
did
It's
that.
not my homie, bro.
Um,
It's not my homie. I've never met the
okay.
dude.
Friend of a
It's a friend
friend.
of a friend. Yeah.
All right. Got it. Proper dual range transfer case. Dana 60. Jesus Christ. 14
I mean,
bolt
it's all there.
rear.
It's all there, but there's little things that I would definitely change myself. Like I don't know why it's got like stock style steering wheel and door panels and stuff that are like painted that don't even look to match. There's just little
Yeah.
stuff that's like off for me, but like as far as hardware goes, it's all there. I can't really knock what all is there, especially considering it's got AC.
But you can knock that
Yeah,
price
100%.
because
I don't.
$180,000 for an admittedly incredibly well built Blazer is fucking stupid.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you were to go to Ring Brothers and have them build one, you'd probably spend that or twice that. But
Yeah, you would.
it can be built for much less than that. It's just a matter of patience. I feel like somebody
You could
that
chop.
just wants to
You could
ride
chop
this
the
summer
one.
and like,
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, but if you could have that done for far
yeah,
less. You don't need. I'm sure they did a brand new LS3. You go find a used one. because I looked on the build tag and the build sheet. It was 17 grand for the engine and trans, and then it was like another 12 to install it or something. Like,
yeah, I mean,
fucking
you could
crazy.
buy that LS3 crate motor for much less than 17, even with trans, like for much less than 17 grand, but whatever.
And then another 12 to install.
Yeah,
So
I don't get that.
and then the AC was like 2,500, and then it was another 1,800 to install it. Like, just,
Oh, that's right. That's
and then
right.
it was like, it is, but it was funny. All the things like then it was like brake line fittings, and then the way they broke it out was clear, so you could see parts and labor were different. But like a lot of the shit they charged the place their labor rate. They did very good work.
Totally.
Not that they built the whole truck, but whatever. Let's move on to the good stuff, shall we? I hope I opened up all the good stuff. Let me see. Because the first one is like the antithesis of the truck we just looked at. And no, I didn't. I only opened up the crappy shit. So give me 1 second here. Open link. I'm going to do this.
Oh, this is encouraging.
Which you can't see on my screen, so it's fine. I'm actually going to open all three real quick. So bear with me here. I'm so sorry for the people listening, because you're like, get fucking on with it. But we got good ones, I promise you. Yes.
And when you say good, what we really mean is fair and not outrageous. And
I think they're good. I think all three of these are good. I'm going to go there and say that.
Like, whatever we were saying about the previous cars doesn't mean the cars aren't nice. It just means we think they're outrageously overpriced.
Yeah, I have problems with the Camaro on multiple levels, but the other two, 100%. It's the price. Sure. That's what drew me in. The CRX is super clean, and the K5 is amazingly well built. That I would love to drive that thing every single day.
I agree with you.
You're 100%
I agree with you on the Camaro. I would spend none of my dollars for that. You could not get me to spend any money on that. That's just not my style, not my taste. I just wouldn't want to be seen in it.
No, I would love to take it for a rip up and down the street real quick, and then hop out, and I'm good. So the antithesis of the K5 is this. This is a 49,000 mile having 1999 Chevrolet Suburban 4x4 K1500 sold with no reserve, and it went for $23,000. Now, that in today's climate, for a vehicle that will literally last until the end of time 100%. And only has 49,000 miles and can tow and can do all kinds of shit and fit tons of people and stuff, that is, to me, a hell of a deal. Let me scroll a little bit on it. It's look at that seat. That seat is super clean. That driver's seat. The everything. The engine is. I know they cleaned it before, but the engine is spotless. This truck is in fantastic shape, and I think whoever bought this for, what was it, $23,000. That's a fantastic buy right there. That person did well. Seller's probably happy enough because they
thrilled.
Did no reserve.
They're thrilled. Like, you can find not necessarily such low mile and so clean, but you can find these Suburbans all day for $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 with somewhere around 100, 125, 150,000 miles, which I would say is like half their life cycle. And
easy half.
Very clean, and like interior with very little wear. Like, a lot of people use these in ranches and lake houses and winter homes and stuff, or they were just like suburban commuters and like kid carpool cars, and they didn't if the kids didn't spill Cheerios and shit all over them and rot out the carpet, like, they stayed in pretty good shape. They were mom's car and they were well taken care of.
I think this was likely a vacation home car, because it says the seller is in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
See?
Which I'm not going to bring up the sales price of that Camaro.
Right.
But if you don't know about Coeur d'Alene, it's a beautiful place, but it has a history. Okay, I'm going to veer off track.
I'm learning a lot, even if it's off camera after we finish recording. Yeah. I got to hear about Coeur d'Alene.
Let's just say they have an active member of an organization that shouldn't even still be active in this country. Moving on
welcome
to the
Georgia.
next vehicle. Yeah. Yeah, seriously. All right. That's a good point. Man, I'm from Massachusetts and Southern California. So this next vehicle, this is a vehicle that just a few years ago, this price would have been a little on the high side. But where the market is now, I think it's a pretty okay buy, especially because style-wise, it looks really good. This is a 1964 Dodge Polara 500 with a nicely modified 383, nice steel wheels, beefy tires, a great stance, and someone bought it for $17,500.
If it's not rusty, if that thing is solid in and out, that is a steal. It's like those like mid-year Mopars. I feel like were the ugly stepchildren of their generation, but now they just look cool as hell as muscle cars. Like, when you put like beefy tires on them like this one has, and like you give it a little bit of rake, like they just look like the epitome of the muscle car. I love these things, even though I don't think they're attractive.
No, I agree with you. So this one looks good, but Mopar is weird. Mopar has like a few models that are priced to the moon, and then a few that are worth nothing. And for a long time, Furies, Polaras, Darts are worth nothing. This Polara just pre-pandemic would be like an $8,000 car. But this thing with its in that profile shot, that pillarless coupe looks so good to me. What I would do though is pull that chrome off the side. I'd get rid of that personally and just have it all blacked out.
I wouldn't get rid of all
I still
of
like
it,
the white.
but I would get rid of that big spear down the side. I'd agree with that.
The one on the nose is cool, but I don't know if you could keep that. Out back. I'd keep out back, but just the sides are what I don't love.
No, that's what I'm saying. That big spear on the side is the one that I would get rid of. But there's two layers of chrome or stainless trim on the side. There's like that wraparound that goes up towards the belt line and then comes back down in front of just above the rear bumper. And then there's the big spear that runs through it. I would probably get rid of that and just leave like the smaller stainless or chrome trim because it matches the trunk and the hood.
The bumpers.
But it would be more like super stock or like, what was their factory race team? Was it the Roadrunners first before they actually introduced the Roadrunner? Oh,
that's a good question. I'm not sure. But like it's got a little tear in the seat, but otherwise this is a great driver. Doesn't bother me that it's an automatic. I love the Dodge logo in the steering wheel. Yep. What's that?
That's it.
Yeah. It's and then the 383. Here's what just nothing crazy. A great exhaust, upgraded heads. Just like a Lunati cam too. So they did some like nice stuff to this. So whoever bought this for $17,500 as a driver, this thing is great. Oh, that's funny too. It says the 727 in it was sourced from a 67 GTX. I'm like, what happened to the GTX though? Because GTXs are the shit. All right, here's our last one. I'm pulling on your heartstrings a little bit with this one, but actually, I'm going to be honest. Whoever bought this stole. I was
just going to say this is a steal and a half. This is kudos, especially considering it's a 5-speed car.
Yes. So I don't care for a Fox convertible. I'm just not a convertible guy. Sure. However, this is for an East Coast car wildly clean, and I feel like you see white and black all the time. So to see a red one looks so good. It looks pretty stock.
I mean, this thing is so clean underneath. It says that the paint is worn through to the primer and like the corners. If that's the case, it's because somebody over polished it because the paint like cleans up really nice and like the interior has absolutely no wear. Underside has no dirt, seat. No rust, no like discoloration. Like everything under hood looks original and just clean, like not effed with and not, not like somebody tried to like dress it up and make it look good for pictures. Like it looks just like, hey, this is what it is. Like it's all original. It's clean.
So this is interesting. It was originally an automatic and it was swapped to a 5-speed. I wonder if that's why they didn't touch it.
Well, I mean, I did the same thing with my first car, my 93 Mustang GT. I burned up the AOD in it and I converted it to 5 speed. And I also did not, I think I saw in here somewhere that it, it was either this one or the last one, but it said that the neutral safety switch was not engaged. And I did the same thing. So you could start my manual car without putting putting your foot on the clutch or the brake, and it would just jump across the parking lot if you weren't careful. But
I can do that in my Montero.
but no,
But
this thing is super
that's just
clean
how
and
it was.
super fun. Like, I keep saying like I would love to pick up a Fox GT or LX convertible with a 5.0 and a 5 speed, just because I have a bunch of random parts like off of
Hmm.
my car that would go onto one of these, and like 5-load conversion, throttle body intake, just random shit. And like this would be the perfect candidate for something like that. Pick it up for like 8 grand and hopefully flip it for twice that with some subtle upgrades. But whoever got this better enjoy the hell out of it because they stole it.
So good point for listeners, not viewers. The price was $8,169, and I can see the homage almost to those Mach 40 wheels when looking
Mm-hmm,
at these 10
mm-hmm.
hole, which these wheels are kind of a better execution, just because these are almost like, I know you don't love D windows, but these are like
Yeah, we call them
an evolved
we used to call
version.
them
They're an
we
evolved
used to call
version.
them phone dials or 10 holes. I've seen
Yeah.
people convert these to 3 piece, and they don't look terrible, but it's just not a look that I would celebrate. It was just such a throwaway, like, get these off my car ASAP style back in the 90s when these cars were new.
I think that it says there's something of a coolant leak. So the coolant leak and the total mileage unknown, coupled with
AC doesn't work.
uh, the gearbox swap, those are things where you and I are like, okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I
I'll
don't
deal
care.
with it.
Yeah,
Yep.
fix that. I'll figure it out easily.
That car, I put that. I saw that. I'm like, oh, Ron's gonna almost be
Yeah,
pissed. He
totally.
didn't
I'm
see
like,
this car for
who
sale.
bought this car? What's your number, bro?
It's like, why is the top bidder says ice baby? What is?
There's so little money
Um,
left in Fox bodies, but I feel like GT convertibles, especially some LX convertibles, like there's still little meat
right.
on those bones if you buy the right car and it's clean and like the top works and it's not fucked up. Like this one, like the top looks super clean and in good condition. There's no holes. It probably works properly. Like it's not a
Yep.
sexy car by any means. It's just like this was like rental spec back in the day. But
Right.
you can totally make this fun and cool. Just, wheels, drop, exhaust, like like mild upgrades, all which I have in storage. Like throw that at it, and I'd have a fun summer with that thing.
Right. What's the difference? So I know the big thing that Ford Mustang people love from this era. What is the difference between whatever intake manifold is on this car and what do they call it? Like the
The
GT40?
GT40 is exceedingly rare nowadays. Like those, like used like retailed for like $600 back in the day, 500-600 bucks. Now they're like, depending on condition, like 12 to 1,500 bucks. Like Ford
Wow.
Motorsport made like a series of cams, the B cam, the E cam, the F cam. They had GT40 heads, GT40 intake. They had the Cobra intake from the 1993 Cobra. Bigger throttle bodies, like all that stuff would just like you'd upgrade piece by piece if you were on a budget, or you do it all at once, and like you could almost double the horsepower. I mean, they were like rated at 205, something like that. And like you could easily get up to like 350, 350 to 400 horsepower just choosing like from the Ford Motorsports catalog. Like they
It was
had a
all
host
bolted shit.
of performance upgrades, including exhaust and everything else, shifters, rear gears, underdrive pulleys, all that stuff was available through Ford, and you could have it installed at your dealership and in most cases retain your warranty. That's why these cars are super popular back then, because you literally didn't have to look anywhere other than your dealership and like go in. Like I remember back in the day, like my buddies that were into Mustangs, I had one, but I couldn't afford anything. But like my buddies were like 10 years older and they were street racers and shit. And we'd go to Gene Evans Ford, and there was one other Ford dealership in Atlanta that were Ford Motorsport dealers, and you go buy those parts and like have them installed, like just make a service appointment, and like they would still honor their powertrain warranties and stuff, and like you know,
That's
yeah,
sick.
like you'd be faster than anything on the street, and you'd still be able to warranty shit if anything went wrong.
Right. That's
Yeah, this car is completely stock, which is actually
right.
really kind of cool because it's so hard to find any of
'Cause
these cars unmodified and unmolested.
The GT40 intake is the same shape as the stock 5.0 intake,
No,
right?
it's got like tubes. It's almost like like the bundle of snakes exhaust they called it on the original GT40s.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's almost like that. They had individual intake plenum runners, and they just look super cool. And they only made them, they probably made them through the mid '90s, and they're just super hard to find now. I sold one. I had one on the motor that's in my Mustang. It came with a GT40 intake, and I sold it in 2000. This must have been 2015, 16, 17, something like that. I sold it for like $800, and
Damn.
yeah, it paid for the intake that I put on it, and it was just at that point it was restrictive. My car was supercharged, and it wasn't like the best intake, but yeah, those things are super valuable, but not as rare and as valuable as the Celine slash Vortec intakes. Those are like $2,000-3,000 now if you can find them. Like they were sold aftermarket, and I think they were sold through Ford, and they were sold through the Celine Performance catalog. But like they were just super cool, and a lot of them got cut open, and like the runners like extrude honed and like ported and polished and stuff. So like they got hacked up, and they're just super rare now. But that's my Fox Body Performance Parts history lesson of the day. Thank you.
Nice. No, I like it. That's why I asked. You're the man I wanted to know from. What is going on at the Speakeasy? Any news? Anything new? What's up with your fleet?
So my fleet at the Speakeasy gained a resident over the weekend. I had to bring the K10 over, and it takes up so much space. I did not make an acquisition. I did not buy another vehicle. I'm in sell mode right now. I'm trying to sell the Tahoe. I'm trying to sell the K10. I brought the K10 back and basically cleaned that thing up. I got all the junk out of the bed. Like that thing, I didn't bring it home with me, but there was, when I found it in South Dakota, it had a camper shell, like a full, like walk-in camper shell that was sitting in the barn next to it. I left that there. I didn't want to F with that. I didn't even want to go in it and see what was there. But basically, the owner of the truck had built like a platform both on the bed rails and in the bed. So there was like all these 2x4s and even insulation in the bedsides. Like they built artificial bedsides, and it was all wood, and it was all pretty well preserved considering that thing was in a barn for 20 plus years. But I was terrified. I think it was just yesterday I went and I ripped all that shit out. But I was terrified that I was going to find all sorts of animals and bugs, and I was just going to like have cockroaches all over me. But completely like free of moisture, animals, rodents. Like there was nothing. Like the I'm sure it was all asbestos and fiberglass because dude, I had like a rash all over my arms when I was done yesterday. But like I pulled all of that insulation out, and it was all dry and like brand new. So the plan with that is to get the lift kit installed, get the 33s and the American racing wheels on that thing, just get it detailed, cleaned up, tuned up, and out of there because it takes up so much damn space. It's just way too big. It's ugly. I mean, I like it, but compared to the 993s and the like Mark III and Mark I and Mark II, like Volkswagens and stuff that's in there, like it's like we traded an NSX for this. Like nobody's thrilled about it being there.
But come on now, it adds a little bit of color.
Oh, totally.
To it depends who walks in there.
Sure.
If I walk in there, my eyes are going to go to that truck pretty quickly. So
it's ugly only because it's dirty and dusty. But like once it's cleaned up, like getting that bed cleaned up was a huge like point of contention for me. Like I feel so much better about, even though it wasn't a purchase, I feel so much better about owning this thing after getting that out and seeing the bed floor is clean, rust free. Like like everything is straight on this truck, and it's like it's just not quite there, but. I figure 2 weeks of work and, a lot of sweat and elbow grease, and I should have that thing ready to sell. And, it should be a cool, reliable, fun truck for somebody.
That's awesome. That'll be fun. Press car updates on my end. I have an Audi e-tron GT in the driveway.
Not an RS.
Not the RS. So this is my
I don't think
Take-Two
I've ever
loan.
seen a non-RS of those cars. Is that going to be like the one? Like, is that what we'll see more of? Like, do they lead with the
I
RS?
don't know. I don't know because at the price this car sits at, you should just get the Porsche. And I think that's Audi's problem here with the e-tron because I do not see a lot of them on the road. The GT specifically, I see plenty of the SUVs, but that's like a totally different price point and vehicle. I see plenty of Taycans, relatively speaking. It's rare.
I see at least 2 Taycans every day. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in Orange County, which I feel like is the home of Taycan, even e-tron, Tesla. Like, it's just
Every electric vehicle.
You see them all. I see
see it all.
Rivians every day now.
I'm around the corner from a Rivian office, literally around the corner. And then my neighbor just got an EV6. I see hydrogen vehicles here, which other parts of the country don't see. Yeah, there's a station in Lake Forest.
Well, who's
so
even making hydrogen-powered vehicles? Like, what's even on the market? I don't even know.
Oh, the Toyota Mirai, and the Hyundai. Is it the Nero? No, there's a Hyundai as well. There's a Hyundai crossover as well. Yeah. There might be one that I'm missing as additionally, and but I see them very frequently. There's a few in my neighborhood. So this Etron GT is kind of the redo loan because I had the Etron GT RS like it feels like a year ago now, and something weird happened on it right before I went to shoot it, where it just wouldn't respond to charging and a bunch of other shit, and it had to be towed out of my driveway. And I just waited, and I was like, "Hey, Audi, can I get another one of these?" And they're like, "Yeah, what do you want?" So they send this over, and it's in this really cool green called Tactical Green, which I'm not in love with the name of the color, but it's like people were kind of shitting on it because in certain lights it's like almost looks like peanut butter green. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah, no, I know, and I'm describing it to you, and you'd be like, "Dude, it looks like mud to me." I don't give a shit.
With colors as it is. You combining descriptions with other colors.
It's like a brownish green. If like your brain is like doing this
sounds like diarrhea, but
right, yeah. So it's not as bad. It's nowhere near as bad as when like BMW did like baby shit yellow on some of their cars.
See, again, I've never heard those two combined. Baby shit is always green or brown. I've never heard baby shit yellow. So you're just throwing me for all sorts of loops.
When you combine the green and brown, you have that BMW color. Is what it
was
is.
That on?
It was on some M vehicles. There's
like
a name for it. And there's people who are
pale ass yellow.
It was. I don't know what it's called, but it's fucking. No, newer than that. Way newer than that. Way newer than the E46. Yeah, but so Etron GT is good. It's very good. It's comfortable. It's tight. The Porsche's better. And I think it's the problem. Unless you get the RS, which has on full, because there's like an overboost mode in both of them. So technically this car can do 522 horsepower, but usually cruises at like 490, whereas the RS can do 637, which is a huge difference. But it's very nice. And actually, I think part of the reason I like it is that I don't see a lot of them. I'm always interested in cars I don't see a lot of. And the green looks good. The interior's nice. I want to drive it a little more. The range isn't super impressive. It's like 240, but it's more than people bitch and moan about range. I've charged it once since I've had it. And I've actually, the last 2 days, I just left it outside. I'm like, I don't need to charge this because I know I'm not, I don't need to push it. I got to go do some things, and I'm driving in dynamic mode, so I'm not sacrificing on the enjoyment of the car.
Where are you charging?
Right in my garage.
That's it? So you've avoided all of the horrible like public charging experiences that some of your cohorts have experienced?
So because I can charge at home, and I don't have a
Right.
charger, but I have what is called a NEMA 1450 outlet. So that's what is that, 40 amp, 250
Okay.
volt, which would, if I put a dedicated charger in it, would technically be level 2. So it's like a good amount of charging. But a lot of these cars come with a plug to handle that level of charging. This is a good segue to tell everybody that they need to buy tickets to Autopia 2099. So I can charge quickly enough at home as long as an automaker supplies that NEMA 1450 plug.
If it's not
but there
supplied, how
are-
much is that plug, like in the aftermarket or from the manufacturer?
No. Like it usually comes with the car. It's just sometimes it's not in the car.
Right.
Like that. That's that's all I mean. So yeah, it should. Normally, when you see these, a lot of the times on these electric vehicles, there's a bag in the trunk or the frunk that has a picture of a plug on it. You unzip it, and the charging cable is in there, which includes a charger to plug in. Here, because if you go to a charger, that has the charging cable. So they usually have a 110 style output or a. I almost want to go get it from the car to show you.
Want to
But
take a break?
I have to open the garage.
No.
No, because I don't want to pause. Not that this is the system that did that. But the NEMA 1450 plug is like 4 prongs. It's beefy. I think you can technically weld. I think you can weld off of it. So it's a hardy plug. And automakers usually supply the 110 or the 250, 240, whatever you want to call it. And this Audi has it, so I can charge lightning quick. But if I need to hit a charger, I think it can handle 270 or it can handle pretty darn fast speeds, usually faster than what you're going to find. And I almost exclusively, just because I've had the best luck with them, stick to Electrify America chargers. And I hear the horror stories, but I will be totally honest, I have not had the issues that other journalists have had, but I'm not using them as often as they are. When I drove cross country in 2019, the network was fresh and farther apart. And at our very first stop, we had an issue where I'm like, it's stop 1 of like New York to LA. And I'm like, the car's not fucking charging. And so I'm on the phone with Electrify America because they knew we were doing it. Audi knew we were doing it. And somebody answered right away. And I'm like, the car is not charging. They're like, when you plug the connector in, just give slight upward pressure on the thing and the car and the charger will talk and it'll be fine. And I did that and it worked. I'm like, thank you for that tip, because if we needed to use it for the rest of the time. But the average person buying an electric vehicle, that's fucking stupid.
Totally.
Like that shouldn't be
It's like the Nintendo fix. Take it out, blow on it, put it back in.
Yeah, but you shouldn't do that on a
Totally.
$40,000 to $200,000 vehicle. But once I learned, so I've been around enough EA chargers where I can sometimes know the quirks. So like if you plug into one and no one else is there, and the one you plugged into isn't giving you the juice where it's supposed to give it to you, stop the session, pull over to the next one, and try it, and that one will probably give it to you. But these are like dumb problems that EVs need to work out, because you would never go to a gas station and be like, this is pumping slow. I have
had that experience though. Actually,
I have had
on
slow
the
pumps.
way to Vegas last year, the same trip where I had the stupid
the dash cam.
That whole experience with the drink throwing. We stopped at the gas station. I don't know, probably State Line, Prim, whatever, somewhere close to there. Like I feel like we were closer to Vegas. Like we were past Baker and we were closer to Vegas. But we all like plug our pumps in. We're fueling up and like we go in to get snacks and stuff, and like we come back and like literally it pumped like 2 gallons of gas like in like 5 minutes. We're like, what the fuck, bro? So like everybody's just like, all right, I don't really need gas. And I was like, I need gas. So I went inside and I was like, yo man, the pumps aren't working. Like they're just like trickling gas. And the dude was like, all right, 1 second. And he was one guy by himself, this small little gas station. He was like, everybody take your pumps out. We all took our pumps out and like we put them back. He's like, no, don't put them back. Just leave them on the ground. We're like, what? So we leave all of our pumps. There's 4 cars. We leave all of our pumps on the ground. He goes and like opens some valves and fucks with some shit, and then he's like, "Okay, you're good." I'm like, "You sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, go." And like, plug back in, fucking go to pump, just full volume, full force. It was the weirdest thing ever. And like, the dude was Latino and he didn't speak a ton of English, and I was just glad that it worked. So I really wanted to know what he did, and like why it didn't
Yeah.
work, but I was just thankful to be done and like ready to go and get on our way. It was the longest trip
Right.
ever, but like that was the first time and only time I've ever experienced a slow gas pump, and it was
Interesting.
a whole station issue as opposed to one pump, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's okay. That's weird. It must have been maybe like, because I know modern gas stations, everybody's like, oh, you go when it's, what do they say? You go when it's
Right.
colder because it does this,
Go in the
which
morning or in the
isn't
evening, right? Right.
true because it's all temperature and pressure
Yeah.
controlled. So like that doesn't happen anymore. But maybe this was an
Right.
older one where they're like, fuck, it's too hot, and he's got to
Yeah.
crank it.
It was weird.
So that's interesting. So yeah, e-trons out there. Next week I get the Silverado ZR2, which I want to go get dirty and drive up a hill. And I'm scheduling some other cars. I'm going to get the NSX Type S,
Nice.
Integra.
Hmm.
Yeah, I finally am scheduling that one. I'm getting a GTS, a 911 GTS Coupe,
You had the Targa
which I'm
not
excited
too long
to.
ago, right?
Right. So this is, I was asking for something a little bit more of the true GTS experience. So I'm excited for that. I get the new Audi S8 after the Chevy. I finally get a Nissan
Yeah.
Z in July 27th. I was supposed to get it earlier, but
All right.
they're like, "Hey, we had to pull it for this reason." I'm like, "Okay, so somebody big needed it, and I can't get it." And whatever, that happens all the
Sure.
time. Let's move on to questions.
Okay.
Let's jump to Twitter. We only got 2 on Twitter. Dan Mosqueda at Moscovich. Great video on the 4x4 expedition trip. What was the least capable vehicle on the trip, and were any of the vehicles stock or with minimal mods? Great question, Dan. Interestingly, the vehicle I was in should have been the most capable because of all the stuff, but because the rear locker didn't work, it turned it into the least capable. It's amazing how important a rear locker is to off-roading, because this truck had 37-inch tires, amazing suspension, air modifications, snorkels, turbo. The engine alone should have pushed it to be able to do just wild stuff. It's so funny that I can still hear you, Ron, because with the head. No. It's funny because the headphones I forgot are also the microphone. Ron walked away from the camera to fix a drink while I'm talking. And I could hear like ice, just like
So sorry.
blah. No, it's funny. I'd rather hear you than not hear you. So that Land Cruiser turned out to be the least capable because the rear locker wasn't working. But there was like a stock older gen Tacoma, not stock, but an older gen Tacoma that some dude drove and slept in the bed, which was awesome. But the most impressive was the FJ60 or 62. I think it was a 60 that just had it. It didn't really have any mods, and it fucking went over almost. It only needed to be recovered once because it got stuck in some mud that was a little bit too much for it. But that dude drove it over everything. And the coolest part about that truck, it had something I didn't know about before, and I don't remember if we talked about this. Maybe we touched on it. It had a pull throttle. Did we talk about this? So
that doesn't mean we didn't talk about it either.
No, I know. So if we talk about it before, we're going to talk about it again. Right. So it looks like a choke, and it's to the right. It was to the right of the steering wheel, I believe, and it's for off-roading. So say you want to go 1 foot on the clutch, 1 foot on the brake, and you're in like a tricky section.
I think we did.
Does this sound familiar?
That sounds familiar, yeah. But go ahead still.
So you can keep your foot on the brake and go start to lift clutch, and instead of trying to slide a foot to the gas, you just start to pull on the throttle control, which is it's basically like a choke. And so you can get it to where now you're just on the brake, and you roll off the brake, and you have it throttling out on this with full control if you need to go back to clutch. I've never seen that before, and it was really cool. That vehicle was awesome.
Independent of the throttle pedal, right? Like you don't always have to pull throttle, like just driving normally.
It's right. Oh no. Yeah, it's independent. Yep. Correct.
That's cool.
Jay Pacillo, yeah, super cool. At JZX71, will we see more two-door sport coupes in the future due to the popularity of the Supra, BRZ, GR86, and Nissan Z, or more hot hatches like the GR Corolla? No. This is it.
We're lucky we have what we have right now. Go out, buy them, enjoy them, and sing their praises, because we're not getting any more.
Nope. At some point, when we've hit a fever pitch of EV market appeal, maybe then we could start to see more EV sport coupes, but we'd have to be way into the EV game.
I mean, Tesla,
and we're 20
Tesla
years.
hasn't even come to market with the Roadster. It's been 5 years since they showed it. That's never going to happen. There's never going to be a Tesla Roadster. There's absolutely no reason why anybody would make an electric coupe, like two-seater coupe. Like, there's so many compromises.
I'm thinking like 20 years from now. I'm thinking 20 years from now when there's like an electric Mustang.
Well, you think 20 years? I think within 7 to 8 years we'll have only.
No, I agree. I'm going far.
I'm thinking like luxury coupe or like two-seater, like, exotics. Like, we've already got Rimac. There's a bunch of
the hypercar shit. Sure.
Like absolute performance cars, exotics, whatever. Like that will exist, but like, you're not gonna. I don't see a market case for a Mercedes SL Roadster electric. I don't see a CL coupe electric.
Though as things shift,
versus a four-door version of that same car with a lower roofline, like, you got the e-trons, you got the Taycans.
The guy who buys it, though, already has the four-door, and then he wants the weekend little electric thing.
I mean, we're so far from that based on
I agree.
Based
That's
on packaging and weight.
Right.
Like, you're not going to have a lightweight, compact electric coupe that provides a completely different driving experience compared to a Taycan or an e-tron or a
100%.
Mach-E. Like, I'll agree with you. We're at least 10, 15, 20 years away from that. Like, if it's ever a thing.
Right. It will be at some point, because, I think battery tech will like the computer and smartphone. But that's why I was going that far out. But you're right with respect to what the question was. No, we both said no. Right. Buy them now, or just wait for the. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Jumping to Instagram questions. This was an interesting question. I usually don't research questions beforehand, but someone was having technical difficulties, so I looked some shit up.
I gave you 30 minutes.
94_Terradome. 2017 Buick Regal GS all-wheel drive. Low-key steal for a sports sedan. Buick, sorry. My daughter just got into Bugle, the little chip things, and I
That's
ate
exactly
like
what I was thinking about. I was just like, I don't know what a Bugle is besides those snacks, and I miss those.
Bugle chips. The Bugle Regal. I would like to buy your Bugle Regal. No, Buick Regal GS all-wheel drive. Low-key steal for a sports sedan. He's saying 2017.
I know it's a thing, but I couldn't draw a picture of one. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I imagine it's a turbocharged 4-cylinder compact sedan, but I mean, is it
pretty good?
Is it good
in 2017?
I don't know.
No. Your description was good. In 2017,
is it a good car? I have no idea.
No, because it was like 270 horse, which I mean isn't terrible, but the next generation of it, they revised it for I think 2019, which is going to be more expensive, and it jumps to 310 horsepower. And from a 6-speed to a 9-speed, which I don't know if that's better or not, because I don't know the gearboxes.
Are they turbo 4-cylinders?
The 2017 is a turbo 4. The 2019 310 horsepower is a V6.
Turbo V6 or just NA V6?
No, just a V6. As far as I know, it's an NA V6.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I have no idea, but I have no interest in any sort of naturally aspirated V6 car.
I don't think it's a I don't think it's a steal for a sports sedan. I don't think it's going to be as sporty as you hope. I could be wrong. It's been so long since I've driven a Buick product. Period. Does
Buick sell anything other than crossovers in the U.S.?
No, they are now fully crossover now. And the thing that pisses me off is they announced they're bringing back the Electra name to do electric vehicles, which is actually brilliant. And the concept they showed is called the Wildcat, which is this crazy looking coupe, which they are not going to build.
They already announced
it's only going to be, it will continue to be crossovers. They've already said it.
The kind of thing that plays into the last question. It's just like, why are you teasing this stuff? Like, I understand Buick has a huge following in China, but it's like, why tease the U.S. market with sexy coupes? Like, you're just following in the footsteps of Cadillac. You're showing stuff you never have any intention of making just to get press at shows, at different events, but that has nothing to do with your actual product lineup and what you plan to offer. Like, I don't understand.
They used the excuse that it shows design language for the future, which is silly. But also the Chinese market, I don't even think cares about coupes. They care about long wheelbase sedans. So whatever. Rumble Strip asks if I'm ready to take the Montero to Prudhoe Bay. That would be the trip of a lifetime, and I would fucking do it. Alaska. I would do it, and the Montero would fucking make it because it's a goddamn zombie mountain goat, and I love it. Sam Gobbs, why don't you have a gravel bike yet? Thanks for the bike nerd session last time. I think you missed some questions. I was going to save one from the last one too because it was a wheel question. Shit, I got to remember see if I can find it. I've thought about a gravel bike. I'm not there yet. I have looked at them.
What is a gravel bike?
But I actually want to get
the noobs like
gravel bike is like it looks like a road bike that people ride on the dirt.
It's just a matter of wheels and tires. Is that the big difference?
It's more than that. The frame's different. It's a little bit.
Does it have suspension?
The frame is no. So that's the thing. No suspension. That's the big thing. It looks like a road bike that people take in the dirt with like the tires, are good for it. And they look like a lot of fun, but it's much more of an exercise thing at that point than look at me hit jumps. Sure. The reels, Mangs, what car are you looking to buy pre-pandemic that you're kicking yourself for not buying? This is a good question. Do you have anything on your list?
Yes. C4 ZR1.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I saw one when I was back east. I didn't get a picture of it. It was this old dude driving this fucking crazy clean one that's the license plate was 9001. I was like, that guy has owned this since now.
Totally.
And it was spotless. I was like, fuck.
I had a friend that was selling one. He bought it for $16K, and I was just like, I'll buy it for $18K as is. Don't touch it. Like, he's a car guy, but he thought he was gonna retire off of this one deal, and I'm just like, he's a friend of a friend, and he just muddied the waters. He's like, oh, I'm getting it detailed, but it was actually getting painted. And when it came back, there was overspray and there was all these sorts of issues. And I'm like, dude, this is why I told you I would buy the car before you did all that, because you wasted your money and you basically you didn't even polish a turd. You created a turd. Now it looks like you're hiding something. There's all this overspray and the paint hasn't been properly color sanded and buffed, and I would have to go back and fix so many things, and I would rather it were just in original condition and I could see the flaws for what they were and deal with it on my own. And if it needed paint, sure, I'd take it apart, paint the hood, paint the doors, paint the rockers if it needed it. But now, and the car even went on to bring a trailer and didn't sell, and he basically got ripped apart. And I was just like, I told you, man, even if I didn't feel like you were trying to hustle me, you should have just taken my advice and just cleaned the car up and sold it as is, as an honest car. He sold it overseas, and I think he made his money and he was happy in the end, and I'm happy for him. But those cars were anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 at that point, depending on mileage. And I feel like they're double or triple that now. And there's just so few of them. Even 96 Impalas, there's just so few of them in clean original shape, and that's what I wish I had picked up before the market went absolutely bonkers.
That's a good answer. I would say, obviously, I've been talking about Mustangs lately. Prices on those are stupid. Somebody sent me a good, well, not a great one, but one that was for sale. I think it was in the Pacific Northwest. I forget exactly where it was for sale, but it was like 5,200, which was a number I hadn't seen on one in a while. But you know, it needed a fair bit of stuff, and it said there was light rust, and that's like, well, there's more than light. It's saying light. So the Mustangs on the list, and basically like any muscle car.
Totally. Have you looked at Cougars though? I mean, Cougars are always discounted compared to Mustangs, and like especially like the 67 to like 70s. I think they're actually
you can make them look tough.
Like
it's not a bad idea.
Premium and like all that Mustang shit bolts on, and like I love the hideaway headlights. Like they're cool. Like
they probably carry one now. You know? I'm gonna go look, and the cheapest one's like 17, and it's like shitty. Taylor 356 favorite airline. Also, how come you and Ron don't have a TV show yet? Because no one wants to hire us. Trust me.
You got a TV show.
Well, yeah, I guess so. We'll see. Waiting on season 3.
I almost had a YouTube show, but I don't know what happened to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. Great question. Talk to producers, but it doesn't matter. I've pitched so many shows over the years, and you haven't seen them on TV, so there's your answer. Well, favorite airline. I'm currently a Delta devotee. I actually am just getting. It's coming in the mail.
The new metal card. The is it like the decom?
I'm getting a 747 card. Because I shouldn't show this on the screen, but I won't show anything that I'm trying to like block everything out. But I have the this is metal.
Oh, but is that a Delta card?
Oh shit! I gotta double check if I make sure
I
I didn't show anything.
Somebody's gonna screenshot that and just.
I know. I'm gonna have to like blur all that out.
I'm so irritated. My Bank of America debit card has been compromised for the 3rd time this year. It's June, and you know it's super annoying because like I have most of my bills set to auto pay on that. Now I've just got to switch everything to my Amex, which never gets compromised. But I do want to upgrade to the what is it? It's not premium. What do they call that? The
Platinum?
No, it's not platinum either. It's above platinum. The 747 card, the metal card.
Oh, no. Delta specifically is the reserve.
Yeah, exactly.
But platinum is still king.
Right, but that Delta Reserve card is like the shit for American Express Delta.
Specifically,
made from
Yep.
salvaged aluminum from an actual 747. That's the shit.
Yes, and it says when like the plane went into service and when it went out, and then my card arrives on Friday.
Nice.
And I am fucking stoked for it. I got to plug in my keyboard because I just got a notice that my keyboard just disconnected because I was trying to change the name of this episode to "Don't forget to blur out your credit card." At like 1:02 in. Okay, like that's a great note, and that's so. Yeah, my current airline I use is Delta, but my favorite, I've had really good experiences on like just flying overseas because I've been fortunate to be in the good seats, like British Airways, Airbus A380s and shit. I don't know. I just use Delta. Yeah, the Delta Lounge.
I am domestically Delta. They're based in my hometown of Atlanta, so I'll always support Delta over any other mark. United sucks. Can't stand United. If I can help it, I'll never fly United again. I have status on American. I'll use American when Delta's not convenient, but internationally, it's all about Emirates. Emirates is. I just had the most amazing experience the couple times that I've flown Emirates. Like Emirates business is, and this is 5 years ago, but Emirates business is like as good as first class on any other airline. Like Emirates first class, for sure. You have a shower, you have your own bunk, basically. You have turn down service. But I did Maldives almost 5 years ago to the day. And we had an 8-hour layover in Dubai, which was sick because they provided a hotel room. So
Oh
car
wow,
service, so you'd go to the hotel, could shower,
that's insane.
chill, then you had car service back. Like we went to Burj Khalifa in our layover. We actually didn't go to the hotel. We just went to the Dubai Mall, whatever that is, and went to Burj
Yeah.
Khalifa and went to the top, you know, and had that full experience and then spent some time in the lounge. The lounge has full showers. It's like the most
Oh, for
opulent,
sure.
luxurious experience I can imagine. And I'm, you know, now there's like Singapore Air has like crazier first class and stuff, but like it's just so seamless and just so effortless and it just like makes you feel so like comfortable when you're traveling literally around the world. And like it was that was an unbeatable experience. So I'm trying to stack those
Yeah.
Emirates miles and Delta miles as much as I can.
Damn. That sounds. Yeah. I can't compete with
It's
that.
not a
That's awesome.
competition. It's just an experience.
No, no, no. That's impressive shit. You got anything cool coming up?
No, but I would like to talk about something cool that I just did last week. Our
Sure.
buddy Rory Carroll was in town. He's now with RM
All
Sotheby's,
right.
and he invited me to their Monterey preview party, which was last Friday, and at their office in Culver City, which is dope, so dope. Like their place, super sick. And so their Monterey collection includes an F40, which he allowed me to sit in, along with an 8-year-old girl. Not together, but like it was just like open season. It was just like, yeah, it's a car, bro. Like, you know, I trust you. You know how to handle a vehicle like this, and like you're just sitting in it. Like you can't really do any damage. So I was on my best behavior, and I got to sit in, you know, my ultimate dream car and experience that and like touch, taste, smell. Super cool. They had a Ferrari 410 that Carroll Shelby drove in competition, which I never knew
That's sick.
that Carroll Shelby ever drove a Ferrari competition car. And
Right.
it had an inscription from Shelby on the fuel cell in the rear that said, Mr. Ferrari told me that this is the best Ferrari he ever made. But I mean, this is like
Wow.
late 50s, like mid to late 50s. So it's like, you know, like I'm sure his opinion changed. I'm sure Enzo's opinion changed at some point over the years.
And
But,
Caro.
bro, a signature on a gas tank of a Ferrari from Carroll Shelby. Like, I think that car was
Sick.
estimated to go for like 20, 25 mil. The F40, 2 to 2.5. There was one of my all-time favorites, an SLR Roadster. They had a Zagato Aston Martin, like a later model. There was a roof CT12, I believe it is, which like I didn't know was a thing, but it's like it was a 997 roof car, like full aero, full interior with an integrated roll cage, like gorgeous car.
Jesus.
There was a 918. There was a 512 BBI in white. Like just super, everything super clean, super unique, and I'm super excited to see what all these cars pull at Monterey. But yeah, it was just a laid back, like cool thing. Like they had tacos and beer. Like you know, it was like I saw Magnus and Hannah there, RJ DeVera, just like a bunch of random. My friend Ashley and from Haggerty and Brian from Top Rate Importers. Like it was just like our kind of industry friends, and
Yeah, I was invited, but I was
I
out of
know,
town.
but I was there represented in full force. But
Hell yeah.
it was
Looks
just
awesome.
cool,
It
man,
looks
because it was
awesome.
low key and there was no like there was no airs, there was no like hoity-toityness. It was just like that's a car. You might be interested. Of course, you're not bidding. You're not you know you're not our clientele, but like you know you get to experience these cars. And there was like a 54 or 58 Bentley that was built for the Prince of Iraq originally,
Whoa.
but was basically stolen, seized by Saddam Hussein when he assumed power. The car was seized again by the U.S. government and restored to original condition. And like, you know, it's just like cool shit like that, like I normally would not be interested in, but like these cars have unique histories and cool stories, and you know, having access to them and being able to like I said, touch and taste them was just a super cool experience. It was like not a big deal, but it was just fun. And then on
That's awesome.
Sunday, I joined them for the Beverly Hills Concourse, the Father's Day show on Rodeo Drive.
Oh,
There's
nice.
all kinds of
Yep.
cool shit there. I mean, my favorites were like GT40s, Cobras, like that kind of shit. And like they had a few customs and lowriders and stuff. And that was super cool. I was less interested in like the new Paganis and McLarens and stuff, but I did
Sure.
see the new Mercedes SL, which was weirdly Porsche-like. Like when I first saw it, like I saw the taillights and I was like, "What
Interesting.
Porsche is that?" Because it's got a really sloped rear end. Like it doesn't have muscular
Really?
haunches like most SLs. They've leaned into like we're competing with the 911. Like it's front engine, it's got a long hood, but it's got like a sloping tail with no spoiler, and it's got a flip up spoiler, but like when that's retracted, like it's very 911. So they are they're making their intentions clear is the best way I could describe that.
Interesting. Yeah, I got to see that
Yeah,
one in person. Very interesting. Sounds like an awesome event. Um, I've got nothing coming up. I'm just
me
doing
neither.
the shit, and yeah. One of these days, you'll let me come to the
Yeah, dude.
speakeasy.
It's hot as fucking. Yeah. I
Is
was there
it?
yesterday ripping apart the bed of that truck. I was sweating profusely. I couldn't see. I couldn't. I had fiberglass all over my arms, so I couldn't even wipe the sweat. Like I was just blinded by the sweat.
Ugh.
But I didn't have any fans. I have a swamp cooler that I'd gladly take over there. Like if you want to wrench on something, like or even just check it out, like it's fine. But like I'll just
I
bring a
do.
fan and that swamp cooler, and we'll be good.
I do need to swap out an idler arm
Yeah,
in my
let's go.
truck.
I plan on being there Friday and
That
Saturday.
could be
I
good.
actually plan on being there all this weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, take your pick, and like this time we'll actually do it. Like I'm canceling dates and
Yeah.
appointments, like to make sure that I get my shit done this week.
Mm, yeah. This weekend might suck, but I will
Okay.
let you know. But yeah, I want to do that. No worries. Either way, let's figure that
Okay.
out. And for everybody else watching and listening, like and subscribe. Thank you for doing that. Go to blipshift.com, find our partner store. I still won't gonna make podcast merchandise to see if anybody's interested in that. And then yeah, we'll see you on the next. I don't have much to say. I just switched to a cannabis drink from an
Okay.
alcohol drink, so my brain's
We're,
about to go
we're
good night
easing out.
because I'm tired. Yeah, no, this is perfect. There's CBD in it. It's going to be night night. I'm going to go take the dogs out, and that's
Okay.
about it. Uh, and that's where I'm going to stop it.
Good night.
Bye.